غرباء غرباء. Assalamu alaikum. Good day, guys. Today in this video, I'm going to take you through introduction to HTML, and this will be our objectives for this video. At the end of this video lesson, you should be able to write simple HTML documents. You should understand differences between HTML tags, elements, and attributes, and you should know what HTML tags, elements, attributes are. You should be able to create headings, HTML headings, paragraphs, lists, and links using HTML. Yes. And then you should understand the difference between closing tags in HTML and self-closing tags. And then you should be able to write tags with attributes. Without wasting much time, let's start. So a brief history of HTML. It was created in 1989 or slash 1990 by somebody. You can check the internet and browse through the history of HTML. Then HTML served a very good purpose, and it allowed publishing and exchanging of scientific and technical documents, and also allowed electronic linking of documents via hyperlinks. You probably may not understand what I mean by hyperlinks and the linking of documents, but don't worry, that's not a problem. As we move deeper in the lesson, you will tend to understand what I mean. This is the general rule. This is how HTML looks like. So the HTML code, generally, this is how it looks like. Something like this. We have something with this sign, the less than sign, and the greater than sign, and it has a tag name inside, then the content, and another thing like this. So let's discuss what the tag is about and everything before we dive into the code itself. Now the first one is HTML tags. What are HTML tags? HTML tags are used to define elements. In HTML, those tags you see, the one this one is called the opening tag, and this one is called the closing tag. They are used to define HTML elements. In writing your code, you will be needing HTML tags. You need to start any content you want to produce, anything you want to write. You'll be needing HTML tags. We have tons of HTML tags. We have different HTML tags, and I'll show you some. So example is this tag P. This stands for paragraph, and this one is for heading 1, H1, and then we have UL for unordered list, and so on. We have different types of HTML tags. Then the second one is HTML elements. Well, HTML elements are constructed using tags. Remember, I told you tags are used to define elements. So HTML elements are constructed using tags, and an element can be a single or a pair of opening tags and closing tag. Example is this. When you look at this is the P tag, right? And this is a content, and this is a closing P tag. You know, I told you you have an opening tag, which is like this, and a closing tag, which is like this. Check the differences between an opening tag and a closing tag. So it's closing tag as a forward slash before the name of the tag itself. So if it's P for paragraph, you have this is the opening tag, this is the closing tag, right? And this is the content. So considering the opening tag, the closing tag, and the content all together, this is called HTML element. So this is a paragraph element. Paragraph element will consist of a paragraph opening tag and a paragraph closing tag and the content of the paragraph itself. So this is used to create a paragraph in HTML. Do you understand? P stands for this is the opening tag, this is the closing tag, and this is the content. All together they are called elements, and that's basically what makes up HTML. Let me show you how that works. And I have my Visual Studio Code here. Remember, in the last video I I told you you're going to be using code editors, either it is Visual Studio Code, Atom, Sublime Text, or any type of code editor you are using. So right here, I'm using Visual Studio Code, and this is it. I've opened Visual Studio Code. The next thing is to create a new file. You can see it here. If you don't see something like this, you can create a new file using your Control N if you're on Windows, and if you're on a Mac, that should be Command N if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to create a new file, and this is a text file. Definitely, as you can see, it is untitled here. That's the name of the file here. It's still untitled, so I'm going to try to save it. Just Control S, right, or that's Command S. So let me give it name demo. Now I give it name as demo, and there is something that is very important, which is the extension of the file name. Different type of files have different extensions. For example, a music file or an audio file may be .mp3 or different types of extension for audio files. I can't even remember the rest. Well, we have video files. We have .mp4, we have .flv, .mkv. Then if it is pictures, we have .png, .jpeg, .jpg, different types. So that dot something is what is called extension, and that is what will tell what type of file it is. Now, for HTML, the extension of HTML is .htm or .html. You either use .htm or .html. What's the differences between both? You see, .htm and .html, just like I told you, are both file extensions, are both extensions for HTML, which I used to develop web page. But the difference is that the .htm alone was an extension that was mainly used then for disk operating system DOS and Windows, especially when there was a compatibility issue with operating system that did not accept a 4-letter extension file name. That was then. So it was used earlier for old operating system, only as they were not able to handle files with large names. However, nowadays modern operating systems are fast and are capable enough to handle large files with no restriction to the length of names of files. Therefore, .html extension is widely used nowadays. You can use any though. I will save the file. Let me save it to my desktop. So I'll save it as demo. If I come to my desktop, I'm going to seal the file here, demo.html, and I'm going to open it using any browser. I will use Chrome here. When you click it, the default browser to open it is Chrome. As you can see, it's empty. There is nothing here. So this is the file, demo.html, and it's empty. Now, let's write something. This is how to write. Don't forget how to write the opening tag. Let's start with paragraph. So this is the opening and this is the closing. Now I'm going to write something. This is a paragraph. I'm going to save this and refresh this. You can see we have something here. This is a paragraph. I'm going to write another one. P. This is another paragraph. So the standard is that after writing an HTML element here, this is an HTML element because it consists of P tag, the P opening tag, the P closing tag, and a content. So the whole of this is an element. So after writing an element, in order to arrange your code very well, it will be proper to write any other element that you want to write in the second line. You get what I'm saying? When I save it, I come here, refresh, you see it, this is another paragraph. But it is not showing another paragraph on the second line because I decided to put this on the second line. No, it's showing it on the second line because it is a paragraph. If I keep it here, I save it and I write another one here. Say this is a third one, and I have my P here. If I save it, refresh, you see it's showing it on different lines, but my code is here on the same line. So that's because it is a paragraph. So let me bring it all down to this second line. Then come here, bring this down, bring this down. So that is the paragraph. That's a paragraph for you. Now we have another type of HTML elements called the headings, and we have 6 type of headings that are arranged in order. The first one is H1. H1. So let me write something here. This is heading 1. I save it. I come here, refresh here. You can see it. This is heading 1. This is H1, and you can see it's bolder and the font size is larger than this paragraph. So mainly H1 is used for titles and headings of a page, anything you want to read, and most times for semantic purpose we usually have one H1 element per page, because if you're writing a page or writing anything, you do normally have just one title. The second one is H2. So I'm going to write this is heading 2. Save it. Come here. You see, it's another heading, but not like heading 1. Same thing. I'll have H3. This is heading 3. Let me have H4. This is heading 4. And H5. This is heading 5. H6. This is heading 6. Save. If I save all these and check, you can see my headings. You can see how they are. So just like I told you, we have 6 headings. We don't have H7. This may be the main title in your page if you want to use it, then probably a subtitle, then a subtitle probably, and it goes on like that. So this is a paragraph and these are headings. Don't forget how to write it. H1, like the opening tag, the contents, then the closing tag. Opening tag, contents, and closing tag. You get what I'm saying? So these are different types of the headings that we have. Another one we're going to talk about is the lists. So we have 2 different types of lists, basically 2 different types of lists. The first one is the unordered lists. So I have it like this, unordered lists. But instead of writing anything inside directly, we have list items. We have another tag called list item. So let me call this, let's say we have let this be lists. Let me have it as a second heading. So lists of programming languages. I know. So let's start with the first one. Don't write HTML, please. HTML is not a programming language. Python. another L, so another list item. So we have another list item, JavaScript, another list item, Rust, and so on. So if you want to continue adding the list, you keep on having list item. You keep on having the list item, the list item, the list item. And if I save it to check, see what we have. You can see it. And it's a list. Then the second type of list is called ordered lists. And let me call this list of frameworks. Libraries. I know. So just as I told you the other time, it has its list item. So let's call the first one Django. List item notes. List item Spring Boot for Java. And let's stop here. So if you go once on adding, if I save it, refresh, you can see it. So you can see the difference between this and these lists. This list is unordered. There is no any order, either the first or the second. It's just bullet points. While this is ordered list, and this is unordered list for UL, ordered list for OL. So so that's basically what we have. That's lists. The first one check we did here is paragraph. Then we have the headings, different types of headings, and then we have lists, which I show you two different types of lists, the ordered lists and the unordered lists. But when you want to add items to the lists, the parents will still be this, either it is UL, unordered list, or ordered list, depends on the one you want to use. Then the items will be inside LI, which is list item, the list item tags, list item opening tag and list item closing tag, and then the content, whatever content you want to put, and that is it. So you can keep on writing whatever it is you want to. You want to add another thing here. Let's see, let's add Java, let's add solidity, and you see it keeps adding. And this one, if I keep adding to, let me add Laravel, let me add Flask. Don't mind if you don't know those words that I'm adding, just don't mind those, just look at what I'm doing. Add what should I add? Let me just put it like this. No, don't let me write that. Let it be nests. You can see it, so it keeps ordering the list. Since it's an ordered list, you keep on having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till whatever it is you want to have. So I hope you understand the difference between HTML tags and HTML elements, and you know what the opening tag is, the closing tag is, and you can write the opening tag and the closing tag, then the paragraph, the headings, and the lists, ordered list and unordered lists. Now let's move to the next one, which is HTML attributes. So there are some things we call HTML attributes apart from HTML tags and elements. HTML attributes are some additional information about HTML elements, and they are usually included within the opening tag. So within this opening tag, let's say this is P, right? Let's say this is the opening tag of paragraph. So within, when you write anything here, though this is just jargons, so it goes in here like this, and that is what we call an attribute. An attribute is always in form of this, the key, and the value. And different elements have different attributes. So it's always in form of a key and a value. Let's say this is it, key, which will be equals to a value. So that is what it is. This key and value is what is called the attributes. Always in form of this, right? The key and the value. And you don't just go and write any attributes that you want in any paragraph, in any HTML tag or element. Different HTML elements have different attributes, and I'm going to show you some now. Let's check some. So let's start with links. Another type of HTML tag is the link. So have you ever opened a page before? Let me see something like this. And you can see a link that when you click, it takes you to another place. You can see a link that takes you to another. For example, this that open another page is called a link. It links you to another resources. That is what is called a link. And this is how you write a link. It's written with A. So have it anchored tag like this. So this is called this is an hyperlink. It's called an anchor tag. And you have it, then you have this is a link. Let me save it. If I save it, if you see it here, it's not doing anything. I can't click on it. That's because we are missing something, which is the attributes. So the attributes an anchor link you have is the location where you want it to go, which is href. So the href will be the URL or the URL fragments or link to any resources that you want it to go. Let me give this link. Let's say we have this as https facebook.com. Let's have something like this. If I save it, you see it has changed color, and now I can click on it. So when I click on it, it takes me to a page. Can you see the new page is taking me to Facebook, and that is taking me to Facebook. Let's go back. So this is the link, and then this that I wrote here inside the opening tag is called an attribute. This is the key href that represents the link that represents the URL or the URL fragment of whatever it is that I want to link to. And then we have equal to the equality sign and the resource save. So whatever it is you want to link to. The second one here are images. And before I talk about images, I love to talk about self-closing tags. Now, the other time we said an HTML element is made up of opening tag, content, and a closing tag. But then there are some HTML elements that are actually just have one tag, which is the closing tag. They are called self-closing tags. For example, an example is the breaking line BR. So you're going to write it like this, and it's going to be like this. These are this is an HTML element, so it doesn't have an opening tag, a content, or this is just what it has, and this is called a self-closing tag. What's the function of this? For example, I have P and I have some, let me see, 20 here. Okay, 20 too much. 10. I have this. If I refresh and I insert the break line here between, you see it breaks the line at the point where you put it here. At the point here, it breaks it here and continues this in the second line. And that's the function of break line. And this BR, this line break, is an example of self-closing tag. A self-closing tag is self-closing element. So now let's talk about images. If you want to link, this is a link to something, but if I want to link, if I want to link images, the tag is img, and it's also a self-closing tag. The tag is img, and it is also a single tag like this. But just like we mentioned the other time, you won't see anything, there won't be any until you have its attributes. And the attribute that is going to link to the resources is not href, but it's called src, which is the source of the image. And I'm going to write something like this. I'm going to put the source. Now let's go to browser and check for, let me go to Splash. Pick any beautiful image. I have problem looking for beautiful image. Let me just pick any. This will be better. So let me copy the link address. Let's go back to our code and let's put the link address here. Now let's reload the page. Okay, it's not working. Let's check for another link. Let me open this. Let me copy the image address. Let's replace it. So that's the source. Let's check. Let's reload. Now we have an image. Okay, though it's very big here, but then we have an image, and that is the function of the img tag. If you want to insert an image, so this image is there, and the image might be in your local machine here. So if I want to access an image that is in my local machine here, let me remove this. All I need to do is check my local machine here. And how will I do that? I'll start by having this. You see? So this means the current directory that I am, which is the desktop, right? And in the desktop, I have some images here. You can see this PNG here. This is another PNG. So let's go with this. And when we refresh our browser, we have this the image. This is for my browser. This is for my machine. You can decide to add another one. SRC. And so if the other one's this, Let me go inside this and let me pick this. And once I refresh the page, you can see it here. This is it. This is the image. So this is the image, and that is an image tag for you. It is also not having contents and closing tag, and this is an attribute. This is an attribute. Now let's go back to the previous lists that we had, the unordered list and the ordered lists. This here. So the question is, what if I don't want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? I want it to be probably A, B, C, D. So there is a way you can do it using attributes. And the attribute is called type. And you can see since I'm using this, it's showing me different types that we have. And you can have your type A here. If you reload it, you can see A, B, C, D, E, F. So it is still ordered. You can decide to have it to be the uppercase, and every other thing else will be uppercase. A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's different type. I can decide to have it as Roman numerals, and you can see. So it's just by inputting type here and the type that you want. If it is the Roman numerals, the lowercase that you want, you can see it here. So same thing with the unordered lists too. We have is it type? I don't remember. Is it type usually have? Okay, yes, it's also type. So you can see it. I changed it. Let me delete it first. It was bullet points before, but I want to change it to be another type. So let me have circle. You can see it. It is now circle. So mind you, these are types that are, just like I told you the other time, different elements have different attributes. So you can't just come and say, okay, I want this to be Z, or let me say, you see it won't work. It will go back to its default, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you just have to put what it's there. Is either A or lowercase a is going to be no Roman numerals, or it's going to be 1, which is the default, the numerals. So let's have it as Roman numerals, and it works. So this one too, you won't just come and put, let's say, let me have it as ball. You say, okay, you want it to be ball. So it goes back to default, which is bullet point, because there is nothing like ball. So we have circle, if I'm not mistaken, we have square. Yes, so you can see square here, and we have different, you can check it online, different types of unordered list. So we have just like I said, we have normal bullet points, we have the circle. So let's leave it at circle here, and that's another function of attributes. And use it to change whatever it is we have. And that will be all for today's class. But then everything we've been writing here, of course, it's showing, but that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to. It's working definitely. It's working correctly, but that's not how we were supposed to write it. And this is how we were supposed to write. This is the boilerplate of HTML. So every HTML file starts with this HTML doc type, then the HTML, and these have different meaning. This is doc type declaration, and it's just like this. That's just all. The doc type declaration is what tells the browser what version of HTML you are using. For example, this one means version 5. So this is for HTML5. This tells the browser. And then we have the root element HTML. You can see it here. This is the opening, and this is the closing, and every other thing here is the content. So everything you'll be writing will go inside the root element, HTML element, and it has the lang attributes, which is set to English for this one. Then we have the head element. Inside the head element, this contains information that is processed by the machine or by the browser, by whatever it is, and it contains metadata and links, title, and whatever it is it can contain in the head. Then we have the body. In the body, this is where your content, this is where you write your content in the body. So the way we wrote our content before is not supposed to be like this. So let's rewrite everything. Let's start with our declaration, which is HTML. Then let's have our HTML here, and everything goes inside here, right? But then we should have our head, and then our body. Then everything that we wrote is actually supposed to go in the body. So when we refresh it, there is no change actually. Yes, but then that's the standard way, and if you're going to push it online, that's what will be recognized by the browser, and let me just say that's the standard way of writing it. And then there's something else we can add here. When you look up here, you can see what is showing here. When you look at this here, you can see apply hacker rank. When you look at the picture here, it's showing you something. The picture we check, it's showing you the name, something about the picture here. And yes, that's something that was done by the website and the person that developed the website for this place to be showing whatever it is differently. But ours is still showing the name of the file itself. We can change it by having a HTML tag that goes in the head that is called title. Let's call it our demo website. And once you refresh it, you can see it changes here, our demo website. So that was all for today. If you have any question, any comments, anything you would love to say, write it in the comments. And thank you for listening. I think that should be the end of this. Thank you very much. We'll see you in our next class.